Oh,
And welcome to Beyond the Game official podcast, episode 5. I'm your host, Matteo.
yeah, I'm your co-host, the Grim Reaper here. Mm,
And I am Luke
Chris,
Siefert from AXYS Esports Performance.
Yes, and we are so excited to finally have you on. This has been months in the workings. This has been ever since we launched on Twitch. We have been trying to get this man on, and he is finally here doing an episode and blessing us with his presence for the Beyond the Game community. Welcome to the podcast.
Nah, man, thank you guys for having me on. I'm just really excited to actually talk about this for once. I think it's been an idea that's been planning in my head for like a really long time, but just due to the way life works, it just hasn't really managed to structure up and take any direction. But
You're right. How long has it been? Since you've really got
so,
started with it.
oh man, the conception of it was like early 2020, like
ugh,
late 2019. We were like,
Wow.
yo, it would be well, because we were really into the sports performance thing. So
Yeah.
we're working with all different types of athletes from different sports, and just that's what the point of sports performance is it's not designed to be like, oh, okay, I'm going to teach you how to play your sport. Like, I'm going to teach you how to play baseball. I'm going to teach you the rules of the game. Like, we're going to practice every week. No, it's nothing like that. It's sports performance is just generally speaking, it's general physical preparedness designed to make athletes more athletic, so that when they
Right.
go to play their subsequent sport, they're better at it because they are generally more fit and athletic than they were before. So it
Yeah.
makes their specific efforts kind of count. So we were super into sports performance, dude. And then we were like, what we realized is we're like, everybody has sports performance coaches except esports.
Yeah.
And we were like, yeah. And so we saw this just disparity, and we were always joking around about it. We're like, yeah, let's get into it. Let's do it. Let's
hmm
jump in. Let's start, but come to actually do that, like in fall, like late fall, 2020. Yeah, late fall 2020. We're in 2021 right now. Sorry.
Yeah.
dude, like 2020 was such a blur. I forget, like it was
Dude,
an
I
entire
can't.
year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
it's
can't even
fucking
remember that.
nuts.
I always like whenever I have to write the date, I'm like, oh god, wait, 2021. Jeez, forgot.
Dude. Yeah, COVID
Yeah.
definitely changed some stuff. And that's what I mean, is it made me realize that fitness, just like everything else, is going digital, which is why I made the career switch in late 2020 to go try to do programming. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to be sitting at a computer all the time anyways, programming, gaming. I might as well code, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I might as well launch content for Axis, because
Yeah.
it's basically content based, um to reverse it, like it's systems to reverse gaming
Right.
posture. So that idea kind of got born in late 2019, but it didn't really take any direction. Late last year I was like, you know what, I'm going to start shooting content. And
Yeah.
I started with the 70 minutes of free YouTube stuff. So there's 10 minutes a day for 7 days a week, which
Yeah.
is tight. And then I
Yeah.
launched the Ko-Fi, and ever since then, man, it's just been trying to get on with you guys, trying to
Yeah.
get in touch with some people that are higher up in esports, which is like, that's what the main thing that I was going to say is like getting into it.
Right.
uh what a hard industry to
Yeah.
penetrate,
And it's a
man.
Dude, it's so flooded, honestly, with everything. Like, everybody's just in this spot nowadays, like of how 2020 was, just sitting home, like, oh, let's get into esports. Like, everybody wants to
yeah.
be a streamer. Everybody wants to be the next freaking Booga Ninja
I think I saw
Tifu.
an actual chimpanzee made Twitch partner too.
Yeah.
He's just a
Matthew,
chimpanzee
you
that
hear? There's hope for me.
Twitch
There's hope
partner.
for all of us.
No, man,
Yeah.
but you're 100% right. The scene is super convoluted. It's just nuts. But then again, every sports scene has that. You have to know the right people to talk to push into it from
Yeah.
the
Right.
standpoint of being, bro, as a gamer, I would not stand a chance. I would get, I tried out, you want to hear something funny? Oh, man, this
Yeah.
is good. I tried out for a Call of Duty league team, and
Yeah.
this is great. I've been a multiplayer dude like the whole time that I played FPSs. I just do 6v6 for the
Yeah.
most part. I'll play the
Search.
various, yeah, search, right?
Love
I'll
it.
play the various game modes, 6v6, Warzone's tight, Zombies is tight, but I decided to just try out for a league team having never played League.
Yeah.
It's a totally different world, man. It was
Oh
nuts.
yeah.
So
Oh, I
me,
bet.
oh, dude, it's good. Oh my god,
Dude,
it's
sometimes I feel like for me it would be so demasculating just to come onto the field and just be like, yeah, I'll do league play, like, that'd be fun. And then like some 12-year-old is gonna kick my ass. like that is just hyped up on G Fuel, and it's just like
Oh, dude, those
I
kids are
can't compete. Like,
they're in the living room with a whiteboard, bro, practicing routes and shit, like where they're gonna go, what they're gonna do. It's crazy. It's a
Yeah.
totally different world. It's not casual at all. And I was like, nah, I'm done. So
it's such a different field from when we were a kid, just screaming at each other in Modern Warfare 2. Just hope that we would get a nuke one game and just
and that was
casually
it,
play,
bro.
and then that was it. That was a life. And then now the average 12-year-old is just looking up like YouTube videos from like big like streamers, big content creators, and just like using all the best weapons and
And
just
see,
like
and that, bro, that
uh
exact premise, exactly what you're saying right there, is why the only way to penetrate esports as a sports performance coach, basically selling exercise, which is
Yeah.
something that esports kids are not really going to be keen on to begin with, is
no,
content.
like
Yeah.
Content is it.
I honestly, it's probably such a big factor that no one really thought about even before COVID and everything like that. Everyone just thinks like, oh yeah, these guys just sit here for like 4, 5, 6 hours a day, like, just sitting down, like maybe having bad posture, ordering Uber Eats just to keep streaming. I see these guys all like a lot of the time, but they don't really think of just, the exercise that they need to have. Like, I feel like if like throughout my day, like if I have a good workout in the morning, like my whole like senses, posture, everything is just
Yeah,
like
man.
a lot better. Like even when I game better, like if you feel good, you play
Yeah.
good,
You
It's
definitely flow
basically.
better.
yep.
Yeah.
But that's what you're referring to there, which kind of, I know you had a long day at work. It's the same neurochemical response that you're experiencing right now of being like angry and tired, as a result of like a super long day of just grinding at work.
Yeah.
If you started out no, if you started out the day with some exercise.
Listen, there's a difference of sitting around playing a video game for 5 to 6 hours. I did that too, and then working my ass off in the kitchen for 14
Bro,
hours.
you know
Literally
what
having
though? If
two of my
you
coworkers yell at me for ticket times while they're sitting on TikTok or like some shit. I'm like, ah, there's a different anger.
Yeah.
But
No,
that,
for sure.
but the engagement, like you can autopilot through certain jobs. There's some,
Oh my
if you're a kitchen
god.
job, right? It's hard. You got to be there. You got everything's going down with your ticket times and all of your like orders coming in. It's nuts. But if
Yeah.
you're good enough at it, you can just autopilot through it. But you
Oh
can't
yeah.
get that kind of cognitive relief when your eyes are on a screen and your
Right.
APM is nuts with your hands and you're like reacting to everything, bro. It literally like crushes you. So I get what you're saying is you're like you have to have some kind of break. There's some rule called like the 2020 rule, which is like every 20 minutes you look at something that's a different distance away from your eyes or something else in the room for 20
For sure.
seconds to reset your eyes. Well, you do the same thing for your body. I forget what the name of the productivity method is, but it's like very commonly utilized by like a lot of people that are very good at life, better than me, right?
Yeah.
Much better than me. Is 25 minutes of one task and then a 5-minute break to
Oh
do
yeah,
whatever you want.
Pomodoro. That's the
Pomodoro,
Pomodoro
yeah,
technique. Yeah, yeah.
you just run that, bro, like all day long, and it works great. But when you can, so I'm like, that's part of the reason why I designed the movement flows that are on YouTube the way I did,
Yeah.
because I designed them to be done in 5 minutes. 5 minutes to create the neurochemical response that we look for when we exercise or raise the heart rate, to get the body moving better. And all of that stuff is for pre-game, and then you have post-game. And I just
Hmm.
started doing intra content. So like things to
Hmm.
do in between lobbies or matches when you're waiting to get matched up, or you're waiting for it to be like like if you're like playing a round style game where you're waiting for it
Right.
to be your turn, and it sometimes that shit can take a minute. You can go run a quick flow. So like that's kind of the idea of where the content came from, is all derived from how much time do gamers have? How long am I going to be able to engage them for? They need something that they can feel evidence wise from point A to point B in a short period of time to even
For
be
sure.
interested in fucking doing it. So that's kind of where I got all the ideas from for building that. Building the gym stuff is actually pretty easy when it comes to actually training esports athletes, which is another thing that you and I were discussing earlier, is like
Yeah.
the disparity between like, yo, I'm hurt, like my wrist is busted up from fucking playing Smash, I got Falcon thumb, my neck
Yeah.
hurts, my lower back is tight. Like, what's
Definitely
up?
lower back,
Right? So
or even like when like if you especially notice a lot of people streaming or just gaming or anything else, like everyone kind of makes the movement like right here, neck wise, or anything like either right here or right here, but they do it consistently.
they're always rubbing their
Yeah.
traps because when you, as you game, you'll start to lift the traps up and those traps will get tight. You'll drop your head, you'll lean into your screen. How many streamers do you see? And this is all you see.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Literally
no.
this,
Here,
right?
let's get on the Nick Merck stream.
Yeah, bro. That's it,
Yeah,
dude.
Nick Merckx right there.
That's it, bro. But that's what I'm saying is like they lean in so
Like,
far. So they're gonna have these issues. So then what do? They get busted up and they're like, yo, I'm gonna go see a physical therapist. Esports has like the best provider care of like any sport that I've seen that generates this amount of money.
Yeah, and that's a shocking
Incredible.
thing too. Like
No,
it's
because like they get it. It's the pros, like the pros,
yeah.
and like the people that get paid like a decent amount of money every year. They get it because they have someone in their ear. Like, yo, if you want a long career, dude, there's an Overwatch cat, and now there's another one just today. It may have been someone from League, but they these like 20-year-old dudes. They just retired from the sport. They retired from their sport temporarily, but they legitimately got on and made a retirement post because they're like, if I keep playing, I'm jeopardizing my physical health. Like I'm jeopardizing my phone. So they stop playing. It shouldn't happen
Holy
because
shit. Yeah, that's
they
younger
right,
than me.
right. They go
Yeah.
and they game and this is outside of NA. We don't really have this problem here. A lot of people in other countries though are like they have hardcore fucking discipline. They're like, I am going to game until my eyeballs bleed, and they go and they fucking do
Yeah.
it, and they end up having a lot of issues because of it. But the point is that once you're like, all right, yo, I'm busted up, you go your provider care, you get all jazzed up. They give you
Yeah.
your YTIs and your hip shit. They may manipulate you a little bit. They give you some good exercises to rehab. Well, what happens when you get to that 0 point where you're like, okay, cool, I can go do whatever I want now. Like I feel better. I'm gaming better. My head doesn't hurt anymore. My back's not stiff. I want to be athletic, or I want to be strong, or I want to learn how to, dance, or I want to go downhill mountain biking. Like whatever, bro. Like whatever you're into. Like as long as you're
Yeah.
moving and doing something physical, but no matter what you decide to pepper throughout your fitness journey and life and fun and shit. If you want to go play paintball, play paintball. I don't care. Whatever you're doing to be active, sprinkle
Right.
exercises in there that reverse typical gamer posture. Just exercise
100%.
selection that reverses gamer posture. And then you can do whatever else you want for fun. There are some people that will start doing the exercises that reverse gamer posture and then notice that they're able to move and do things that they were not able to before previously. And then they're like, yo,
Yeah.
I can squat now without pain. I want to go get strong as shit. I want to squat, deadlift, and press and get jacked.
Yeah.
There's
Like
going to be kids that want to skateboard, dude. Like as long as you're doing something other than this for entertainment and enjoyment, and then there's a light, small athletic motif that you adhere to that's cohesive and makes sense for whatever your obviously your sport of choice. If it's esports and whatever else, whatever other modality you put in there for fun, just make sure it's cohesive. Make sure it's
yeah.
something that you do.
Yeah, exactly. And like and I really especially even with that cuz like mainly like when you work with like esports and everything like you're either going to work like in more kind of different divisions and everything, but it's mostly for the most part it's going to be like either FPS or like MOBAs and everything like that. But even like from my background, I come from more like the strategy kind of more collectible card game side of esports and everything, like just coming off seasonals for Runeterra. And that was like 9 fucking rounds. And like it was literally from noon to like I finished my last round at like around 10:30. And like that shit's a whole day event. That's like a whole day of just like, okay, you gotta feel good, you gotta get through that, but also like your ED, just all that kind of shit. And it's super important that you're able to like maintain that. Like honestly, like I told you, like my main source of fitness like right now is Orange Theory, but like
Yes.
and cardio is like super great for that. But I'm wondering even like with more like said and done, like should like a strategy gamer such as myself be like more so training differently like physically speaking and everything as like different than like someone who plays like an FPS or even a MOBA? Like what would you kind of
Yes.
say?
So the first thing that we look for is typically from an ergonomic standpoint. You want to understand what you actually have posture wise when you game is
Yeah.
we want to see keyboard or mouse. So
For
if we
sure.
understand keyboard and mouse versus controller.
Yeah.
So if you play keyboard mouse, you play controller, we're going to have different postural things to assess because your ergonomics
Yeah.
are different. But the number one thing that I would say is you always, regardless of how you train, ergonomically want to understand how your setup is going to affect what you need to do to reverse your gaming posture. And
Yeah.
yes, we would take someone that plays league or is more strategy card based and train them differently than we would someone
Yeah.
that does an FPS. And that's where you have scope. So you have scope. So like if you look at a training program, like it has layers because there's
Mhm.
a million different layered models of training. But if you look at it like it has layers, you're going to see that like every time it goes deeper, the most general layer ever would just be considered your like general warm up before you play.
Yeah.
Like how do you get blood flowing? How do you do XYZ
For sure.
before you play? That's general as hell. Then if we got someone that's an FPS cat, we're going to take them and make them run aim lab after
Okay.
we do a general warm up, right? After they run their aim lab, we'll take them through a specific warm up based on their setup and their posture.
Yeah.
So, like, if I'm an FPS cat, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I do all of my upper trap, neck, T spine stuff. I'm going to make sure that I have my chair and everything set up right. So my feet are flat against the ground and I can hold myself with my chin tucked for as long as possible.
For
Because
sure.
the other deal is fidgeting becomes a really big part of it too. If you're someone that can become frozen in place and not move for like 6 hours at a time, you're going to be way more tight and wrenched up than someone that's constantly like, let me put my leg up, let me slide this way, let me slide this way, let me come,
Yeah.
I'm
right?
definitely a
Because
fidgeter.
if you're a fidgeter though, that means you're moving, bro. That's good because what we're trying to get away from is like you becoming an icicle. Like
Yeah.
that's
Just
like
very static. Yeah.
so you got that general, you got whatever the sport specific is. So for a strategy game or for like someone that has to do like a rhythm based game like Beat Saber or something, right? We're gonna have them
Yeah.
run there. So it goes general game. We'll just call it general. So general physical, general game.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're gonna go specific physical and then finally specific game. Like y'all, I'm gonna do a warm up match, or I'm gonna do whatever your last iteration is before you're to the core of your gameplay. That's what's encompasses the outer shell
Yeah.
is general warm, general game, specific physical, and then specific game, and then you're into your game. You're done. So that would be how we would train someone pre and post match. But from what do I do in the gym standpoint? Like, is my
Yeah.
gym life going to be different? Your gym life is not necessarily going to be different because the number one goal is resiliency.
Yeah.
You're going to do some specific stuff for your forearms and hands, keyboard and mouse versus controller. You're going to do some specific stuff,
For sure.
posture for your neck. But the number one deal is, bro, the more you can fidget, the more you can move, the less we have to really do damage control. If you're frozen
Yeah.
place and your APM is like through the roof, then that's more shit we're going to have to do with your hands and wrists, more we're going to have to do with your neck. And like I said, FPS guys hold a lot of tension in their traps and shoulders from doing the
Yeah.
Nick Merck.
Yeah.
Doing the
Doing the Nick Mercs or just even in general, even if they're not
Well, Nick
even
Merck
doing.
plays controller, but I mean, he just does that
He's
just
just
to enjoy it.
showing straight forehead streams. Only forehead.
He's got a big forehead. One of
Yeah.
the things, though, that I will say, I think in general, that is basically just across the board for FPS strategy-based games, like anything that will affect people in esports or gaming in general, that they basically know but really don't do anything about is their sleep schedule and
Ooh.
eating habits. Like that is something that really I think affects everybody, even
Yeah.
Matthew and I. Like it just
Are you
affects
guys
everybody across the board.
Oh, my sleep schedule, ever since like really the pandemic hit, it's all over the fucking place and it's been like that for a year.
Yeah,
dude?
because
Yeah.
like
You guys ever heard of the term sleep hygiene? Because your sleep
Yeah.
schedule versus your sleep hygiene, they're two different things. But sleep schedule is a part of sleep hygiene, but it's like no one has good sleep hygiene. Right.
nobody, no.
No.
But
Right.
like I mean,
Nobody.
like
Right.
for me, when I
If you're
game, like
paid to
some
have good sleep hygiene, you have good sleep hygiene.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, like I literally sometimes forget, like if I'm just chilling on Modern Warfare for a night, like oh shit, it's like 1 or 2 in the morning. Like okay, fuck, like
Mhm.
should I go to bed? I'm up. And
Should I hop in bed for 5 hours? Nah, bro, that shit
Yeah.
sucks. That's the thing is when we talk about pre-competition sleep schedule, like week of competition, like we'll use your seasonals match, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of times people will overcompensate for bad sleep schedules and they'll get to their week of competition and they're like, I'm going to get some good sleep this week. I'm going to do X, Y, Z. And they try to get a lot of sleep every single night. And that ends up actually affecting you because you're used to function. Your body is a crazy machine. It's used to functioning off 5 hours of sleep. So it does what it needs
Right.
to do off of 5 hours. Right. And then you start giving it 9 hours and you're like, what's happening? Or
Dude,
there's people
sometimes
that the night before they're competing, they'll try to go to sleep early and they just lay in bed and roll around all night because they're not used to that. Sleep
yeah, that's
hygiene, one of the main things is just go to bed, even if it's a late bedtime. Like let's say that you're like, all right, bro, I can give myself till 12:30 every night. You know, you
Yeah.
still stay up late, still later than like normal, like you know, but that means that you're gonna get 6.5 hours, which is like right in the mid range of like good sleep, but that should be like, yo, 12:30 is like my dead time, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm
8
sure
hours
there are
is
some
overrated anyway.
8 hours, if you can get it, bro, when you get to my age, eight hours is not beautiful. But if you're in your 20s, bro, there are plenty of nights where I did the 4 hour sleep stint. Like if you're familiar with how sleep cycles actually link and work, like we're talking about like your actual sleep cycle, like the way it looks
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
paper, which is what this is for.
Yeah.
Oop. I'm not paid by them, but they do sleep schedule
Yeah.
shit. But like if you see how your sleep is scheduled every single night, it's hour and a half like batches. So when you if you can get like a good like ice cold hour and a half of sleep, it's like that's a brick of energy. Think of it like batteries on a fucking phone, right? Like that's a
Mhm.
brick of energy. If you get two, that's 3 hours. If you get four, that's why they say between 7 and 8 hours of sleep. That's not coincidence that they say between 7 and 8 and not just 7.5, because your sleep cycles are approximately 90 minutes. So anywhere between 7 and 8 hours is the window for 4 sleep cycles.
Yeah.
So that's like the best way to think about it is like, yo, it's like four to five. But
Mhm.
if you lock that shit in, bro, you'll notice that that's the first part of your sleep hygiene that you should definitely do. Sleep hygiene and hydration are the two things that I notice that people don't do. I could give a fuck necessarily about the diet to begin with. Diet is the most important thing, but it's also the hardest thing. Like
Yeah.
getting someone to change their eating habits is like pulling fucking teeth. Like you're more likely,
It's
if I was
so
to tell
hard.
you, if I was to walk up to you and be like, yo, you have two choices. Change all of your eating habits today, right now, or starting tomorrow, you got to go to the gym at least 4 to 5 times a week for an hour every single time. You would be like, I'm going to the gym. I'm going to the gym. You would not.
Pretty fucking much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bro. So I mean, think about that. I could line up like 30 things like that, and you'll be like the other thing, the other thing, the other thing, every
Yeah.
single. You will not change the way you eat. So that's why, generally speaking, it is the number one base for the first thing you should address. But it normally ends up being the last thing people address. And what happens is it gets to a point where there's a tipping scale where you're like, okay, my diet is now preventing me from any one of the following: preventing me from looking better, feeling better, performing
Gaining
better,
weight.
gaining
Yeah.
weight. So it gets to an impasse where it's like, okay, now you have to make a choice. So your body will eventually tell you if you don't, but the idea is that you do it ahead of schedule when you make it the base of. That's why, like, if you look at the fitness pyramids, the base one is always
Mhm.
nutrition, nutrition. Nutrition's always chilling at the
Yeah.
bottom, and performance is always chilling at the fucking top. Performance, speed, power, like always at the top.
Yeah.
It's basically
Well,
like you said
literally.
before, like my body is just like our bodies are like nuts where it's just so like
Oh,
I
man.
can function off of just eating one meal the entire day sometimes. And if I had a nickel for every time I skipped breakfast, I would never have to work a day in my life
Yeah,
again.
you know what's fucking
And it's
wild about skipping
horrible.
breakfast? I'm gonna tell you guys something, bro.
Okay.
As from 20 to 30, collectively, I'd say I skipped 5 years of breakfast, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Depending upon
I
like
hate
from
doing
20
it though
to 30.
too.
So skip like collectively, like all the
Okay.
days balance it out. Like I skipped 5 years of breakfasts overall the 10-year period, right? So approximately half, if you wanted to break it down into a 50-50 scale, half of that shit. But I will tell you that I can say without a doubt the breakfast periods where I was able to make myself a breakfast every single day, whether it was because of my work schedule or whatever it was, the best performing and the best feeling periods of my entire life. and I don't. I know the old saying like, I'm not a nutritionist. That's one thing I don't do. I know the old adage like breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Never skip breakfast. But like, it's
Yeah.
crazy how it motivated me to push my training schedule harder, and I shifted my training schedule to be train just after breakfast. Most fire training sessions of my life came from there.
Yeah.
On the flip side of that, there's the intermittent fasting argument, and intermittent fasting comes in big with gaming too. There's a lot of dudes that are like, they'll be like, yo, I wake up and I hit the gym. Even a lot of them are like, yo, I wake up, I go to the gym, but then I don't eat till like 2 in the afternoon, but I eat like, to high heavens from like 2 to 8 or 9.
Yeah, that they just like try to replace the meal that they missed or
Well,
whatever. Like they just eat double.
it's
Yeah.
a feeding window. It's a feeding window. So what they
Yeah.
look for is increased energy, focus, and like fat burn, I guess you could say, or fat oxidation
Yeah.
in that period up to 2 p.m. And then they, just go nuts and eat whatever they want. And that's their caloric feed window. Whatever they can get within that window is what they get. Well, generally that puts them in a caloric deficit, so they lose weight. So everyone's like intermittent fasting, but like it's hard to train really hard when you do intermittent fasting. So for
Right.
gamers, intermittent fasting may be a viable option because you can still train when you're a little bit hungry. Like, hey, I'm a little bit hungry, but you'll still train well. But
Yeah.
you go to try to do a fucking 300-pound clean and jerk on no breakfast.
No, that's not happening.
You gonna bust your knees out,
Yeah.
brother.
You're gonna like freaking break your shin in half faster than freaking what's his name in the UFC fight.
Oh, dude, that
yeah.
was nuts, bro. Those fights were crazy, man.
Dude, I had to turn away. I saw that live. I forget his name, but like, dude,
Chris
like he
Weidman.
didn't. Yeah, he didn't even get hit or anything. He just stepped bad, and then his shin just snapped in half like a freaking
You guys know that
twig.
he was the kick checker
Mhm.
when Anderson Silva broke his shin. So Anderson Silva broke his shin on Chris Weidman, and last night Chris
Yeah.
Weidman broke his shin on Uriah Hall. I think it was. He broke his shin on Uriah Hall, which is just not that every single fight, bro. Like I'm a casual MMA fan. Like if there was like
Yeah.
a stereotypical casual MMA fan, it's me. Only extract 94% douche. Just full 94% douche. I'm still 6% douche, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that's
I have
6%.
gotta have that 6%. I have my opinions about things, and I like actually
Twist his dick.
twist it.
Take his
Kick.
dick and twist it.
No dick twist.
The old dick twist.
Yeah, that shit's crazy. But I have my opinions about things and the way things are run, and I think it's cool. And I got friends that are in the fight game. I got friends that are into boxing. I got friends that are into combat training, but they don't
Yeah.
actually fight. But I think it's really cool, man. And last night UFC 261 was lit, bro. It was ridiculous.
100%.
Everything was a first round knockout or first round TKO except the last fight, which was second round TKO. And you got to watch a dude with a chin of steel just get absolutely melted by a
He
right, bro.
he
Melted.
ragdolled he ragdolled hard, like
He was
literally just
laying on Kamaru. He was laying on him before he even hit the ground. And he had the
yeah.
same problem that that homegirl Zhang had. She had the same problem, bro.
Mhm.
She didn't know what happened. She got up. She's like, all right, we're still fighting. Everyone's
No,
like,
you're not.
you're not
You're
still fighting.
fucking out. You lost.
You're done, bro. You're finished. But yeah, so it's like that's just crazy, man. How one of the other parallels we like to draw is between the different training styles as they accompany the physicality of the sport. And one of the things that I was saying is Valentina, they were talking about one of the girls on the MMA or on UFC last night, Valentina Shevchenko. They were talking about her training schedule. And she has one of the weirdest training schedules because like combat sports and the fight game, like they have like insane training regimens. Like they have a full cardio session daily, normally a weight room session as well, and then like a sport specific, like an actual sparring session, right?
Yeah.
Normally that's their day, 2 to 3 sessions a day. She trains one time a day and that's it. But the point is she knows exactly what she's like bullet focused on what she's doing. She knows exactly what she needs to train for her sport. And she's reached the level of like elite, like invincible status. She's defended her belt. Like, I don't even fucking know how many times now, but she's nuts, dude. She's never like, the
Yeah,
whole time she's had her belt,
I saw a lot of things on Twitter about her. She's
she's insane,
insane.
bro. She's
Yeah.
insane. It's nuts. Like she's terrifying. But the deal is her training style gets to the point where she knows exactly where it needs to be versus her sport. So like eventually Axis, I would consider it in its infancy now,
Yeah.
is more educational than it is anything else. Like, yes, I work with a couple kids in Fortnite. As of right now, I'm trying to get people in Call of Duty, and then I'm working towards, Overwatch players, League players,
Yeah.
Runeterra. I want to slowly build
Yeah.
a resume so I can be like, yo, I've worked around esports. But the point is autonomy, like to take these people,
Yeah.
work with them, and then educate them to be like, okay, cool. So like I could just stick to being generally fit enough to be resilient enough to be able to game, or I can really get into X, Y, or Z and
Right.
be strong or go to the gym a lot, or I want to get jacked. I want to look like, a
Yeah.
bodybuilder, whatever it is. And that's actually what I'm currently working on now is I'm finishing up. It's really, I have to go edit it because it's long, because I just vomit information everywhere. But
Yeah.
training protocols, like different, like, hey, I'm a gamer and I want to be fit.
For sure.
Should I be a bodybuilder?
Yeah.
Should I be a power lifter? Should I do yoga?
Yeah.
Should I like
Yoga wouldn't
what?
be bad.
Yeah.
Right. Well, yoga and gaming go great, which is what
Yeah, they do. They go hand
Yeah.
in hand.
essentially that's a lot of what the movement flows are too. I jokingly call it, if you've got the heart for yoga and you like dig it, like it's not boring to you at all. And if you're bad at yoga, it's actually quite like it's painful to engage those poses at first. It fucking
Yeah,
sucks.
I'm sorry. I can't be like I
Yeah.
respect the people who do it, but I can't be a yoga
So
person.
in that case, we took the yoga and we kind of just made movement flows out of it, mixed it with some corrective exercise movements,
Yeah.
and then set in some elements to reverse gaming posture. And I call it not so boring yoga. No offense to people that do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm with you.
no offense to you guys, more power to you, but like,
Yeah,
Jesus,
they
man, I
they're way
can't
better
do
off
it.
mentally than us. I'm sure they don't have ADHD to
Mhm.
the millionth degree like I do, but they meditation is another part of yoga practice which can come in
Yeah.
advantageous to someone that is involved in esports. Bodybuilding, when we look at that and we examine bodybuilding as a viable model, it's great if you want to be aesthetic, which is a lot of the training goals that people have when they first get into stuff. They're like, I want to
Yeah.
look good naked, and then
Yeah.
from wanting to look
Hey, I
good
already
naked.
look great, but
There you
I could gain a few pounds.
Christian's
That is one of my
very like veiny. He's a very vascular man. Like
yeah.
he
That's
really
that's
is.
one thing that people laugh at me is that they're like, "You are super veiny," and I'm like, "Meh, yeah."
So if your
But
vascularity is great, man, then that means your metabolism is more than likely jacked. Because
it's through the fucking roof. They're like, "You could probably like have this metabolism like for the rest of your life." Like, I'm
yeah,
like,
I
it's
managed to
such a
slow
pain
mine
sometimes
down a
though.
little bit.
I
I
wanna
had
slow mine
I
down.
really
It's hard though, and one of the best things is that it's like it's hard because it's all about that diet schedule that you said. It's so hard to get over what you're used to, and there are days where I'm committed. Like I've eaten breakfast, I've eaten a snack before lunch, I eat lunch,
Yeah.
I eat a snack before dinner, and then I eat dinner, and then I've had a mix of a few, and it feels great. But to constantly do that every day
oh dude,
sometimes is impossible,
Yeah.
especially for
it's
me
a
because I
fight.
work on weekends. Even today, Saturday and Sunday, I worked 14 hours, and I'm there from
Dude,
8
man, I
a.m.
will
to
tell you
10
that
p.m.
I will tell you that it's possible, but there'll be a fat but it's like the hardest thing you'll ever have to do. Whenever I train someone that
It's
works in service
so
industry,
hard.
I hear them, I'll be like, yo, tell me about yourself. Like, tell me about your job. Tell me what you do. Like, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, yeah, well, I work in service industry. And I'm like,
Yeah, you're lucky to
I'm
get
like,
at least
what do
one
you,
meal in.
I'm like, what do you do? Or you don't tell me you're a bartender. If you say bartender, just turn around and walk out right now. And they're like, I'm a bart. I'm like, nope, go. See you later. Bye. Because like I know what their sleep schedule is like. I know what their eating schedule is like. I know that they drink literally every day with their people that come to their job. Because like if you're a
Bartender, but
male or female bartender, doesn't matter, like both of them. But
Yeah.
oh yeah,
like
100%.
I trained two bar managers that were dudes, and they were like, they would come in for the 6 a.m. workout, and I'd be like, you guys are still drunk? And they'd be like, yeah. I'm like, okay, man, I guess let's work out drunk. Let's
Those
fucking
are the
do it, I
best.
guess. But like, but it's nuts, bro, because like there's no way for you where you're at to, and that's another thing is if you couple two things, yo, I'm a gamer, I want to be good at fucking esports, I want to do it, and then you're like, also I have a service industry job. You're like, well, I don't know what to tell you. You mix any sport with I have a service industry job and you're in trouble because if you're taking the sport seriously, there's a 100% chance that your work schedule or the byproduct of what your work does to you extrinsically and intrinsically, anger, right? You're going to be screwed. But and that's why we examine what, and I'll take this as an example. What would someone like you have to be like the most efficient? You would have to have the most efficient training model possible to try to reverse. It's actually kind of funny because the combination of standing all day and the combination of sitting while enjoying video games, those are like the two worst things you could possibly do back to back, because standing a lot is just as bad as sitting a lot, and any mixture of both
Oh
also
yeah,
fucks.
I used to work at Publix all the time, dude, and
Yo,
you're on
Publix,
your
bro.
you're on your
Yeah.
feet like
Yep.
all
Well,
day,
like
and I would remember
you
going
guys
home, my
rubber
legs are
mats.
killing me.
Oh, dude, yeah, you would feel like there was no blood like running through your legs from standing all
Not
day, and they're like, "We got
nothing.
you guys rubber mats." You're like, "Fuck off." But
Yeah, I
so like
hate
you'd have
shit.
to have the most efficient training schedule possible, bro. You'd have to train for 20. What I would say is 20 to 40 minutes a day, 4 to 5 days a week, and just start there. But literally make it to where it's like 20 to 40 minutes, minimum of 20. You like,
Yeah.
hit a couple like movement flows, get your like just blood flowing, and then do like an EMOM, which is a great way to get fit, which is like, that originates, that term is really old, but it was popularized by CrossFit. It means every minute on the minute. And EMOMs are great for when you want to get a lot of work done in a little bit of time. You can assign yourself like a certain workload to do per
Yeah.
minute, and then just stack it for like, yo, do an EMOM for 10 minutes. And like by the time you're done with it, you've exercised, you've technically gamified it because you're trying to complete a workload in a given, so you're trying to complete a task on like a time, right?
Yeah.
So it's interesting the way that works, how you have to gamify things and change things for people's environmental factors like crazy. And that's actually where we were going with like the bodybuilding thing. If you're not going to step on stage and you're just training to look good, which I think is a lot of the draw of getting into fitness, especially for gamers. They're
Oh
perceived
yeah.
as being scrawny and
Yeah.
weak
Yeah.
and shit like that. So they may just want to look strong as shit. They might not care about being strong as shit. But what ends up happening is on the quest to look strong, you meet someone that is strong, and they may not look like how you want to look. Like you want to look like one of those, you ever seen those ads on Instagram with the furries that are like super ripped, and they're
Yeah.
like, it's like a human that's like jacked, but it's got like a fucking bear head or like a
Yeah.
fucking lion head. They're hilarious. I don't know who makes them, and I don't know if they make them ironically or not, but
For
it's
sure.
amazing because it's
Yeah.
like super jacked human furries, but like they look like Super Saiyans. They look like they walked off the like a weird universe in Dragon Ball Z. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like that look is what a lot of gamers go for, but then they meet someone that might not look like that, but is fucking strong as shit, and they're like, okay, I never mind looking strong. I want to be strong. So that's what happened to me. Was I was on the quest to be aesthetic and big, and then I was like, oh my god, like I actually discovered that I have a gift for power output. So I can like I'm 5'10" and I'm white and I can dunk. Like
Yeah.
that's not normal. So that, you know what I'm saying? But like that's just not normal. So
Yeah.
like I have power output, but that's my gift, and I would not have discovered that unless I took my journey going through. So bodybuilding is a great it's like a great like intro. But to me, the best, and powerlifting is great, but the soft tissue damage is like abysmal. Like it wrecks you. Like if you're squatting, benching, and deadlifting, all three of those movements, like your elbows, your fucking hips, your hamstrings, your shit, it just gets bad from all of that. So it ends up
Oh,
kind of making gaming worse for you in
Oh
a
yeah.
way. But if you enjoy it, then more power to you. But that's what they did on Twitch Rivals the other day. They had actual they had an actual powerlifting meet, and like LOL Tyler was in
Oh
there, and
yeah.
like a bunch of, and bro, those guys are fucking strong. Like those are
Oh
strong guys,
yeah.
but they've been doing it for a long time. Weightlifting is the same story. It's cool as shit. It's really athletic. I was a weightlifter, like Olympic weightlifting, snatch and clean and jerk, and that shit is gangster, bro. It is so much fun to do, but once again, abysmal levels of soft tissue damage. We already talked about yoga. But like when it comes down to it, it's just like you can do anything you want as long as there is ingrained within your workout program something to reverse your gaming posture. And that's kind of like the message that we're teaching is like make sure you move and then make sure that the movement that you choose to do is intentionally to reverse gaming posture, and then do whatever else you want other than that. And that's kind of the outcome of my little research project
For
is that.
sure. Yeah, and I like that too.
Probably
Yeah.
my probably 3 goals of that sense, because obviously I wanted to go more content creation more than esports or anything like that, just more casual based gaming. But I work, 40 hours a week right now and I hate it, but it'll soon change. And my biggest realistic goal, I would say, as far as working out, is to gain about 30 pounds realistically. And
Yeah.
that's already tough. It is like I want to be around 150, 160, around that, like something at a good, healthy, like weight for me. So I've
How
been
old are
trying.
you?
24.
Okay. So your
Yeah.
metabolism's not going to slow down until you're like 28 to 30. That's just the
It
way. And then, so the only choice that you have in the interim time is there's two things that you have to do, and only two things. You have to consume a simply atrocious amount. You don't need to worry about macronutrients or micronutrients or any of
yeah.
that shit. You just eat as much as you possibly can and as humanly possible, and sleep as much as you can, because when you're sleeping, your metabolism will slow down.
People try to tell me like of like, oh, like sometimes, oh, you need to eat this, you need that. I'm like sitting there, I'm like, dude, I just need to fucking eat. That's the
Period.
thing, is that like I need to
Doesn't
stop
matter.
skipping breakfast.
Mhm.
And one of the big things I have a problem with too is I order Uber Eats way too much. I need to be cooking for myself a lot more.
Bro, you know what's
It comes
wild
to
is like the easiest to cook, the greatest variety, and the most nutrient dense food is
chicken
like
and
the
rice.
cheapest fucking food out there. Well, chicken and rice is number two. Number one is egg. I am
Yeah.
egg.
Oh yeah,
You can't
I would
fucking
say.
beat egg,
I
bro.
mean, like
Yeah.
for me,
You
for
really
breakfast
can.
used to be for breakfast a lot would just be the simplest thing, about 3 to 4 eggs of scrambled eggs and a bagel. Maybe if I'm feeling a little, feeling a little nice, maybe I'll throw in some bacon and I'll throw it in a
Yeah.
sandwich and I'll be like, great, that's all
That's
I
it,
need.
bro. A bacon, egg, and bagel. That's it. And you
That's
know what's crazy is you'll be like you won't eat the bacon, egg, and bagel, and you'll fuck off and go do something else. And then if you're like, yo,
Yeah.
on second thought, I do want bacon, egg, bagel. You go somewhere, and for bacon, egg, bagel, you pay like $9 fucking, and you could have made that shit at your house for literally it's 4 eggs at like 10 cents an egg or 20 cents an egg or whatever it is, bro. Come on. That's and then the bagel, which you already bought from the store, and the bacon is maybe the most expensive thing at like $1 a slice, possibly. But like that's what I'm
yeah,
talking about
but
is
like I buy
you
a
save
package of them
yourself.
or anything like that.
Yeah,
It's like
you save yourself a fucking ton of money by cooking at home, and you can make really nutrient dense stuff. And yeah, the best thing to do that I did to gain weight was I gradually shifted. I went from, okay, what do I need to eat calorically to make myself gain weight? And then I went to sources that were fugly. They were not clean. Hygienically speaking, they were gross. I was like, Uncrustables times five. And and a
Yeah.
bunch of other shit that I didn't need to be eating. Whole milk, which I mean, I have a lactose intolerance, so I was drinking whole milk just because I wanted to gain weight. Like I didn't fucking care.
I just use whole
Um,
milk for my protein shakes. Like I don't like my buddy back in high school used to drink basically like a gallon of whole milk, and he's like a fucking tree. Like good for him, but like
I
I
mean,
just
it's
couldn't do
gross,
that.
but like it's
Yeah.
gross, but it's calorically dense. So I made
Oh
sure that it
yeah.
was like very dense uh items that I was consuming. I started to gain weight. And then as I started to gain weight, I was like, all right, let me, before I get like kind of like looking like a chopped cheese, like all gross and weird and shit, let me like transition into healthier, but still match calorically what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And it ended up being a whole ass load of chicken and rice and eggs. And for sweets, you would do like homemade pancakes, and you would consume a lot of like oils and butters, and like you have to
I
get
eat so many honey
really
buns.
you have to get really good
Yeah.
with the spices, bro. You got to get hella good with spices, because you got to start eating food that tastes good but isn't
Yeah.
calorically super dense. Because when you do reach your weight where you want to be at, and you're used to eating like a Yeti that had a pound of Coke burst in its stomach, yeah, when you're used to that, and you have to maintain calories or cut, you want to gradually kind of trade out the junky food for the healthier stuff. But once again,
Yeah.
that's a long-term deal. So it's like what you can do now short-term wise is just make sure that you have whatever kind of, bro, if you got to Lunchable it, bro, if you got to eat Lunchables, do it, man.
Yeah, like,
Like,
I
whatever
think
you
one of
got to
the
do.
easiest things for me for lunch, like, for sometimes, like, if I'm trying to make myself something quick, because sometimes I like to, maybe it's bad, but, like, I used to eat, like, a bunch of frozen pizzas or whatever for, like, lunch or some shit like that. But I'll
Bro,
just throw in, like, 2 or 3 PB&Js, like, just, like,
Red Baron pepperoni,
red
The little Percy boys. Them things,
Yeah, man, like a whole no, like a whole pizza, like, for me,
Yeah.
and it's just
they
like
slap,
and
bro.
and one of the things for dinner that I like, again, cheap-wise, really easy to make any way you want, just fucking pasta for dinner,
Oh
like,
yeah.
any
Bro,
like,
ramen. Yeah, you could just hook it.
Shrimp scampi. Just
shrimp
like
scampi,
If
like
you know
basic.
how to do, like, bro, if you like truly understand what you can do with ramen, you can make that shit however you want. And ramen is cheap as fuck. But like,
yeah,
that's what I'm
ramen's
saying
cheap,
is,
but, like,
it's
pasta
right.
I'm Italian, so I'm a little more,
Oh, so you go,
you know
so you go for the garlic
yeah.
shells. You go for the garlic shells, or
Oh
you
my
go for the,
god,
yeah, bro, the
yeah.
garlic shells slap. But
Yeah,
like,
I always put a
that's
little
what I mean
garlic
is like,
salt, like a little
pasta's
yeah.
great. That's high calorie, but then you got to make sure that to counterbalance that, you at least have some kind of stimulus to where your body's going to want to produce and grow to meet that stimulus, which is one of those concepts that's like really truly crazy to understand, is adaptation. And one of the things that happens when you adapt you adopt a training regimen as an esports athlete or as any kind of athlete, whatever training regimen that you adopt, you end up having cross adaptation. So you actually end up utilizing whatever training model you're going for to make yourself more generally fit, ends up crossing into your esports and helping you actually perform better.
Right.
Yeah,
And there's very few ways that we have right now. There's been some research that's been done on it, and the research always points in the direction of physical fitness or movement or cognitive training, as in like speed and reaction training, e.g. an aim trainer like aim lab,
Mm-hmm.
makes you better at the game.
yeah,
However, it's very difficult for them to scientifically be like it makes you this much better, or there's a percentage, or whatever the case may be. It's just the
For
general
sure.
consensus is it makes you better. But that's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to actually use aim lab and try to create a couple test retests so that we can actually test people that,
Yeah.
I've been working out and I've been doing these exercises to reverse gamer posture. I've been doing my strength training. I've been eating better, sleeping better, hydrating, whatever the case may be. And we take that and we actually run a movement flow with them, have them run an aim trainer, and then we have them actually step into their game and see if they statistically completed the aim trainer to a more satisfactory degree, and then also the game itself.
Yeah.
We look at it, if it's a 6v6 randoms on Call of Duty or some shit like that, it's not going to be a predictable outcome. But they themselves statistically look at their match performance and see if there was an increase in performance based on the movement flow and the aim lab combined, because that's the neurochemical response and then the actual sport specific response, and they cross.
Yeah.
And
dude,
that's
sign me up.
cool.
I'll be your lab rat for Call
Honest,
of Duty.
honestly, like even the big thing is too. The one thing I think I've even like I hit you up even when I first saw you more your content. I'm really excited for when you're gonna actually really, because I think the key thing is too, especially with everything that you're working with these athletes and everything too, is that you really just make the content more like you're really in the moment, like really working with them, and you're really getting to connect with more of the gamers, especially because like Orlando's a really huge fucking scene, no matter really what
Yeah.
Yeah.
is like going on. So the fact of the matter is like there's always like something there, and there's like a lot of people that you can work with, and I'm really excited to kind of like, especially with like future content and everything, I'm really excited to see that from you, like I really
Well,
am.
Digital Battlegrounds has been great. Felipe from Digital Battlegrounds has been awesome. He let me run my
Yeah,
first seminar out of there. We're going to be working with them in some Smash tournaments.
that's good, that's good.
Coming up, yeah, Smash is nuts. But coming down the pipeline, I'm hoping, I'm working with COPE right now, which is a coalition of parents in esports, and
Yeah,
they want me to do something with them in terms of content creation. I don't know if they want me specifically to create content to put on the COPE website, or if they're just looking for me to create content to them for them to privately distribute. but I'm
Yeah.
100% in, because as long as we're educating people and it's getting into their hands, content wise, my content is only going to get better. And like I said, man, you and I have talked about this. Is basically like this position like doesn't necessarily exist. Like
Yeah, it doesn't.
there's not sports performance coaches or strength coaches in esports. So I have my work cut out for me, because on this side we've got the medical, which is great, and then we have the people that are like, yo, fuck this, I'm not going to exercise, I'm literally just going to play my game for 12 hours a day until I'm so good that I can beat everybody, but then I'm going to have to retire a year after that because my body's shit. So you have these two spectrums, right?
Yeah.
And then like nowhere in between is anyone like, let's get physically fucking fit. They do have some colleges. One college, which actually their coach was on a Zoom. I guess it was like a webinar, but it was on Zoom, and he was on it, and he runs some high school esports program in some other state, and he's like, great, like he gets it. He's like, yeah, I would love to do these strength training with these kids. We have them do, physical warm-ups. We have them, they train them mentally too, to, if they're breaking down in a game, they're like tilting, they're
Fucking
fucking going
awful.
crazy. They take them and they actually pull them out and make them go do something physical, like a breathing drill or any of this. And I was like, yay, because I mean, like, it's
Yeah, yeah, it's super
something
important.
that's, yeah, and they're taking it in at a young level with these kids, and that's like the kids of the man, the kids of the future. Everyone's like, "Fuck them kids." I'm like, no, the kids of the future, man. That's like
Yeah.
that's where it's at. There's no way I'm going to be able to talk to like a 28-year-old like streamer that streams for fucking 40, 50 hours a week, has a job, and I'm never going to be able to convince them like, yo, you need to incorporate physical activity into your life.
Yeah.
Be like, no, you're gonna. I have to.
It,
I have a job and I'm a fucking
it's
streamer.
not even until like they're
There's
even
no like
yeah.
balance between that.
There's
Even
no
like full-time
balance.
streamers, like I've noticed,
Yeah.
like even more so that even transition, you see it's like you think it's like gonna be better, and then they don't have that kind of background, or not even background, that kind of more, I don't necessarily want to say discipline, but they're just not doing the other shit, and then you kind of notice a little bit of a difference, and it's like, oh, you thought it was just like it's just gaming and just doing that and everything's gonna work out, and it's not that simple. It really isn't.
I wish it was. So one of the kids that I'm in the process of trying to work with is Tyler Cruz, and Tyler Cruz is a
Mhm.
Fortnite kid, and he's like pretty decent, but he came on the scene getting right out of I think he said it was amateur soccer. It was either amateur soccer or college level soccer, but
Right.
he was super athletic. He was a fucking college ball player. So
Mhm.
he comes out of it, gets really into Fortnite, gets really good, wins a bunch of championships, like one of the best players in NA for like 2 years. And then he noticed his body was starting to do shit. So he jumped back in the gym in July of 2020. He got
Wow.
back in the gym and he started working out. And he's one of the kids that I was on the Zoom call with Cope. And he's like, yeah, bro. I play less now, but when I do play, I play better and it's more quality because I'm spending like an hour to 2 hours in the gym every day.
For sure.
Feels great. My mind feels great. And he's like, and just grinding the games, because coming from it's almost like it's like a gift. Like for me
For
personally, like
sure.
I've been fit in my life. So if I get out of fit, I'm like, oh, this bad.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I've never been there, never experienced it, to know what it feels like to be strong, to be athletic, and to be resilient toward anything, period. That's why people get into this style of training, is because it makes them more resilient for anything else that they want to do. I want a baseball. I want a downhill bike. I want to play cornhole. What?
Yeah.
Okay. Like whatever you're into, right? So
Yeah, for
like
sure.
that, and that's kind of why we try to adapt this style of training specifically for esports, but it's an uphill battle.
Mhm.
And yeah, like you said, they're never going to realize like, okay, this isn't going to work
Yeah.
forever. But the young kids, you can get them involved in being fit. You do have cats like Nick Merckx, Censor, Dr. Disrespect, Scythe PK now.
Mhm.
There's some dude named Sony, who I think, or Sonny. He was on Twitch Rivals. Tyler,
Okay.
you got all these super fit guys, bro. So they're at least out there
Oh yeah, Nick
promoting the
Merckx
way.
like promotes
Yeah,
so
many
many
the
workouts
gym,
every day on his
gym
snap
streams,
on his
bro.
Instagram story.
Yeah, so it's like it's great, man. Like, and they're promoting fitness in general. So like that's kind of the message that I'm hoping to get out. So the
Yeah.
message, the mission behind Axis is going to be to educate create content and give content out that will reverse gaming posture in small doses that you can like utilize in game. And then eventually I want to work with orgs on developing training
Right.
models for their teams.
I definitely know. I definitely know an org. You could definitely help out for sure
Oh,
on that
we
sense.
know an org.
We know an org. We know an org.
But
But
he actually has a good like he has a good fitness schedule, I would say. Like he is a CEO, like actually keeps himself pretty organized when it comes to
Nice.
balancing his early morning fitness regimen along with his job and then streaming during the night.
Oh, nice.
And
That's what's up.
yeah, he's really good when it comes to that. I try to do my best when it comes to morning workouts, but I gotta
yeah,
find a good gym that's close to me, and B, it's like I gotta
Dude,
figure out.
that's the hard part, man. Is finding
crunch.
just
You gotta
getting
go to crunch.
crunch is sick, man.
I
Crunch.
want to go to Crunch. It's just it's kind of a drive for me.
It is.
I kind of want something that's relatively close,
Where do you live?
right across from UCF, right behind Pub, in the Greek ghetto.
Okay.
And the
uh,
GGs.
There's a lot of good like
UFit, I think, was gonna be something that
you fit's good, but I would
LA Fitness is probably like the one that's.
I've heard pretty not so good
Oh yeah.
reviews about LA Fitness in
LA
Waterford.
Fitness is bro. LA Fitness is just it's there. It's just like Planet Fitness or the YMCA. Like
Yeah,
YMCA is for like casual, older, perhaps
yeah,
Caucasian female clientele. LA Fitness is for guys and stringers that want to
Yeah.
just like be beefed out of their fucking minds and fitness chicks. But fitness chicks actually they can just go wherever they want. So they're fitness chicks. Like
yeah.
Yeah.
They can go to any
they
gym.
could deadlift, or they could just do booty workouts all day, or they could maybe like train shoulders like they're Dana Lynn Bailey.
Yeah.
No one cares. Fit chicks can go whatever they want. But LA Fitness is the home of stringer boys, and then Crunch is the home of like defunct athletes. Everybody in Crunch is an athlete. Like they're actually athletic and pretty strong, but
Yeah,
like they're just like defunct from their sport. They just like hang out at Crunch, which is great. But
LA
UFit's
Fitness would have been perfect for me, but like because
UFit's good though, man.
yeah,
UFit's solid.
UFit's like not far from me. It's small. It's nice. I like it. I've gone as a guest a few times with my coworkers. LA Fitness,
If they reopen
they are reopened. They are.
the Anytime Fitness, they just opened that back up, the one that's in Stony Brook.
Anytime, I don't know. There was another one that I was looking at, but it was very expensive.
Anytime is sick because it's just key card access, bro.
It was like
But
24 hour
24-hour
24 hour
fitness.
fitness.
Yeah.
24-hour fitness is good. But the thing with Anytimes is key card
40
access.
bucks a month, dude.
Oh, dude, you don't even want to know what our gyms charge, what our gyms charge, and what we charge for programming and coaching, because we know we're worth it, because we know we actually make things happen. So
Yeah.
we charge like significant amount of money. If you want to go to our weightlifting specialty gym, it's like 150 to 170 a month. If you want programming from us, it's 150 to 170 a month. And if you want just like run of the mill basic stuff, the bottom line price for like pre-made programs and templates is still like $100. It's like
Damn.
crazy.
I
Yeah.
better get into that free training and everything for content. Holy shit.
Yeah, bro. Yeah,
Yeah,
bro. I'm like I
seriously.
said, I'm taking in like a dozen people, and I already have like
Honestly, like
four
you
to
need
six.
any
Yeah.
strategy card game people, I'm holla at your boy.
Oh,
I would
dude.
definitely
For
I'd be
sure,
your,
man.
like I said, I'd be your Call of Duty or lab rat. I would
Bro,
like,
straight
Yeah.
up, man. And I have no issues because it's all about promoting education at this point in time. Like I'm not
Yeah.
trying to like flipping coin from this will be cool in like a year or so when like everybody understands the concepts better because I've educated people. Because then they're gonna be like, all right, where do I go for this? And I'm gonna be like, I don't know, dude. Where would you go for something like that? I have no idea where you could
Yeah.
possibly go to get something along those lines.
yeah.
So that's kind of where the idea comes from. But the content up front, bro, like I have no issues distributing our programming to people that are helping to promote the culture and want to actually see this through and have it work, because
Yeah.
interest is the number one thing that people lack here. Is I'll approach people and I'll be like, hey man, sports performance for gaming, and they'll be like, oh, you misspelled fat, waste of my fucking time, thank you. And I'm like
Yeah.
but like it's true though, bro. Like
Yeah.
they think that it's a waste of time. Like they don't understand why it's gonna make the or like they'll be like, oh yeah, I'll be like, yeah, sports performance for gaming, and they're like, I'm only here because my mom
Yeah.
made me come.
Oh.
I'm like, all
I
right.
think those
They're like,
kind of
as soon as
people really just like have never worked out in a day in their life, and I feel like for me, I always feel better after a workout. And if I'm feeling good and I'm like feeling like I feel like energy,
Mm-hmm.
proactive, like if anything, that's gonna affect
Yeah,
every aspect of their life, and especially gaming.
it
bro,
really is. Yeah.
I have trained kids where their parents, and I mean, like, I know this is gonna happen to me with esports too, but this happened to me when I was a weightlifting coach. I'd have parents come in and they're like, "Come here," and their kid like walks over all sad and shit, like looking like they've never exercised a day in their life. And they're like, "You're gonna do what this man says." And they're like, yeah. So then I'm like, "All right, kid, let's go. Let's get a warm up." And I'll like walk, and I'll be like, "Let's do walking high knees," and like we'll do some walking high knees. And I'll be like, "Okay, we're gonna do a lunge stretch." They like, cannot do it to save their lives, like the lunge. So I like adjust their lunge position, get them set up. Like, yeah, cool, we're lunging. Let's stretch the hip a little bit, reach overhead, cool. And they're like, "Where's the bathroom?" I'm like, "What's up?" They're like, "Where's the bathroom?" I have to, blah! And I'm like, "Jesus Christ, kid, you fucking puked everywhere. Why'd you puke? We did 4 lunges and you did 10 high knees. What the fuck? Why'd you puke, man?" And like, they're that out of shape, bro. They're
Damn.
that out
Yeah,
of shape. They're that out of shape. It's crazy. But that's because their parents go from like letting them game for fucking 14 hours a day every day from the time they're
yeah.
10 to 14, and then they're like, we're going to a gym, and they take them to a gym and they give them to a sports performance coach, and they do 10 high knees and 4 lunges and throw up all over the floor. So like, this is once again common practice, because you guys are right. A lot of people have never been introduced to it. You feel good after working out because
Yeah.
at some point in time that was instilled in you to feel
It
good
was
after working
well,
out.
even so, like even growing up, I was always more so like I played my card games and everything like that, but
And then you
fitness was
go
always a
outside.
part of it. Like yeah, I was
Right.
like
I
always
used
been a runner
to,
and
yeah, I
everything.
used to play lacrosse back in high
Relax, bro.
Yeah.
school all the time, and like I even had a personal trainer for lacrosse. For lacrosse, relax, bro.
Relax, bro.
And I had a personal trainer for it, and he kicked my fucking ass. Even my this is the worst, but my JV coach at one point, when my freshman year, was he coached. I mean, he was he I don't remember if
Mhm.
he owned the gym or if he was just a fitness trainer there, but he did CrossFit, and he's like, we got our ass kicked a lot,
And if
and we
you're
had to wake
fit,
up at 5 in the morning to go to the gym, like do all this other shit. We'd always have to do beach runs, this, that, and the other thing, and
if
like
you're fit, CrossFit trainers take it hard on you too, bro. They're not nice if you're fit, because
they hate.
they want
You
to
will
see
make
you
you hate.
break under the CrossFit stimulus. And then they're like,
Yeah,
"See, I
They're
told you,
just
you little
like, we want
bitch."
to break your hips. Like, we want to get you into hip
No,
surgery ASAP.
they want to break your shoulders is what they want to break.
Oh,
CrossFit's known
really?
for, yeah,
yeah.
See,
CrossFit's
with
known for
CrossFit,
shoulder
I always
surgery.
make the joke about the hips and not the
Nah,
shoulders. So that's
the
actually
hips
like,
hips is actually more of a runner's thing. Runners have a lot of issues with their hips, and then like
ah,
Imagine
people
their
that
knees more than anything.
yeah, I've
yeah,
never
hip
had issues more so with my hips. It's always been, I would say more so shoulders for me, but I actually run, like, I have a very, like, really nice posture when I run. I
if
don't
you have a good
normally, but
if you
when I
have a good
run,
gait,
yeah.
if you have a good gait, that's one thing. But a lot of times people think they're supposed to run upright, so they'll see themselves and they're running like this. But like from a physics standpoint, you want to actually be leaning when you run, not leaning at the hip, but
Mm,
the angle of the body leaned forward, so you're literally, your feet are catching you and preventing you from falling on your face. But that's when it comes from running for speed.
yeah.
Having good posture when you run is great, as long as you're doing distance running,
Like
because like
True.
marathon running, like
distance
like
running, you're not running fast, so you can have a little more upright posture and let your
For
legs and
sure.
hips do the work. But the thing is, man, is like hips, knees, there, it's all a byproduct of the same system of movement. Sports where they
Yeah.
rotate a lot, like baseball, they end up having, upper cross syndrome, because they're rotating, and like one hip gets
yeah,
tight, one shoulder drops, one shoulder comes up. With gamers, you got elbows. It's all sport specific. With CrossFitters, it's definitely shoulders. Like,
Mm-hmm.
they're fucking like, let me do 60 butterfly pull-ups, and then go do a fucking 30-foot handstand walk, and then go do fucking thrusters. And you're like, what the
one
but
of
like,
one
that's,
of my biggest problems I used to have is for lacrosse. I had a shoulder injury where I pretty much like popped my shoulder out of place, and in the adrenaline part of the game, I popped it back into
Popped it
place
back in. And that's
myself.
actually probably when it tore, is when you popped it back in. We had a
Yeah,
girl.
exactly what happened.
We had a girl dislocate her shoulder when she snatched in the gym, and it just popped out of place. And then she was like, "Die hard, boom!" And she fucking popped that shit back in. And I was
Like
like,
from King Kong, like versus Godzilla, just like across the building, just like just popped it back to place. I just kind of like just jerked it myself. I didn't even like hit it against anything. Like I
"No."
just kind of just, and it was just I didn't really feel it. It was more of just sore for a month, but now it's like never been the same, and it's more basically, I would say, it's just the strength around my shoulder is just absolutely screwed.
Shoulder
And
strength is hard, man. Shoulder strength is because a lot of the
and once
times
I build it up, it's fine.
you
Like I
don't
can
know what
actually do
it'll
it, but
build up
I can't bench for the life of me. I can't do it. Like
because
I
there's
have to
a
do
difference
dumbbell.
between shoulder mobility, shoulder stability, and shoulder strength. They're all different things. So, like, if you're limited in a range of motion and you're restricted, you won't be able to train the shoulder like properly. If you're limited in stability, you may try to load because like you've got a decently like functioning shoulder, but it's just not stable. Like you're not stable overhead, or you're not stable from the front rack position, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And you actually
Yeah.
have strength. Like, yo, am I fucking strong enough to press it? Am I strong enough to do X, X, Y, Z? So the process is actually you build them that way. You go, I'm gonna make sure my shoulder girdle is mobile. All right, now I'm gonna do isometrics and strength. Okay. If I have a shoulder that's moving well and can support load, now I'm gonna go ahead and load my shoulder. Shoulders are weird. Hips are the same way, but like hips are a little bit easier to deal with. The shoulder is essentially just like wee.
Yeah, and I feel it
Yeah,
too,
kind of.
man. And it's scary when I'm working out sometimes because I can feel it giving, and I'm just like, I have to let it go. I can't
You
push
can't
it too
don't
Yeah,
much.
ball
And
sucking
what
joints.
and
it's a
that is where the PTs in whatever industry you're in come in handy. And with gamers, it's great because like you just have access to a ton of esports clinicians and providers. They're everywhere. So like
Pretty much.
pretty simple. But God forbid you're like, if you were completely healthy and you're like, you know what, I would love to start a strength training program. You're never gonna fucking find anybody that does that in esports. You're gonna have to go find someone else and may build you a strength program, which would work, would be great, like get you stronger. But if they're not consciously, intentionally programming it to reverse your gaming posture,
Yeah.
or extrinsically looking at it like, okay, this dude works 40 hours a week on his feet and he games casually, recreationally, but he tries to create content for his Twitch and for this
YouTube, yeah.
YouTube, like that's then okay, well now I have to change the way I'm building this program to be able to facilitate those needs.
Yeah.
So that's what makes it hard. So that's pretty much a wrap on it, man. That's I gotta go put my kid to bed now. My
Yeah.
kid's
I
wife
will
just
I will say like
I
definitely
put my kid to bed too, my dog.
yeah, I will say especially in the future we definitely got to have you back on cuz there's a lot of other stuff that like I definitely want to
Yeah,
touch on with even more like more so like the people that you're working with like in esports even like locally or otherwise and definitely we would love to like even with your other like stuff in the future and everything just collab for other stuff for your channel our channel because I mean we are going to expand outside of the podcast and everything as well. Like we are planning on launching other content as well and vlogs and other shit of that nature.
you
So,
guys know I'm down, man. You guys are supporters of the culture,
oh fuck
and
yeah.
that is the most important thing, is that the culture comes first,
Mm-hmm.
and then obviously the communities that we build inside of esports, there's not very many people that are willing to like raise a flag and be like, we support this in esports, because everyone has a chip on their shoulder, or they think it's
Right.
and you guys
yeah,
for
no.
reaching out to me and being like, yo, let's have you on. I very much appreciate it. You guys were amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
and
100% down to do stuff with you guys in the future,
one
man.
of the
Yeah.
biggest supports that we like even need to show and like is like we have to practice it ourselves to like, hey, like, like I said, we're college students. It's hard. Like, it's
Yeah.
hard to find time when it's like we game, we work, we school, and it's like,
Yeah.
fuck, like,
Yeah,
where's
that's
my time go?
game work school. Fuck, that's
Yeah, I'm trying my best to get my ass back in the gym, and it really showed because when I did a freaking chest press, my
Yeah.
left arm was going this way, my right arm was like, they're not the same level. Like,
that's
Pretty
that's
fucking much.
well, yeah.
and
So
trying my best to practice that as well.
you guys know I'm down to give you guys the body weight content, and if you guys have access to any kind of dumbbells or anything, I can give you the. 'Cause I have two different.
Dumbbells are expensive, man. I
Yeah.
tried it, like especially during quarantine and everything. I tried. They were super and still
Well,
are super
the
expensive.
quarantine, they were basically like it was basically like
Gone.
the equivalency of trying to get a barbell during the quarantine is getting a PS5 in 2021. So they're the same.
Ooh,
It's
yeah.
so dumb because I bet more than
Yeah.
half of those people were not even freaking using it. They're like,
Now,
I gotta
they
do
just had
this,
a
and they're like,
thing that
now it's
Yeah.
collecting dust.
It's like anything else, man. It's like candy. Nobody wanted to go to the gym because it was there. It was the candy that was in the bowl that no one gave a fuck about. And then someone's like, I'm gonna put this candy away. And they were like, what? No, I want candy right now. Like you never wanted candy before. You never once went to the gym this entire time. And now that I'm taking the bowl of candy away, you want to go to the gym suddenly. And they're like, yeah, you want to know what? Keep the fucking bowl. I'm gonna go buy my own candy. And we're sold out of candy. Thanks a lot, candy
Yeah.
buyers, dickheads.
Yeah,
But
pretty
yeah,
much.
And then I
so
would love to have you back on too, so we can just basically shit talk Call of Duty for like an hour.
Yeah,
we'll talk metas.
there's
I
a
hate
lot
it.
of more like shit that like especially like we definitely want to get more of like your business side of like more shit, and even like because I mean you are as much a gamer as you are a trainer, and it's really
Yeah, like
super
that's
interesting
the thing is
shit.
that you have
Yeah.
a foot in both worlds basically, which is
Three
like,
worlds kind of like business, just fitness and gaming, and that's a trifecta.
hey, he's got a third leg. You know what I mean?
Hey, bro, I thought the camera was up here. You can see down there. All right. This is better.
Oh, what do you think I've been staring at this whole time?
Only foreheads.
Thank you
Oh,
guys.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Definitely, all of all the access content and everything will be linked down below and everything. Guys, thank you so much for watching Beyond the Game official podcast. And we will be uploading our next episode at some point soon. I think we're having Caleb on next. So
having Caleb on next, and during that time we're still working on thumbnails and intro and outro like shit. So
yeah,
like
Thumbnail
too much more steps to make it official.
Who knew thumbnail creation was such a big deal?
yeah.
All right,
Oh
fellas.
my god.
It really is,
Yes.
like sometimes, and then like I said, it's other expansion into content of how we actually are gonna be doing
Yeah,
this is
for
gonna
other future
change.
shows, vlogs, other stuff of that
Yeah.
nature. We will be talking about that in the coming weeks, but make sure to like and subscribe, and we will see you next time. See you guys.
Take it easy. Peace.
Peace.